Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of the home lab build. Today we're going to be doing one more install of a vulnerability scanner. It's a open source called Greenbone. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure you take a look as we are building off of the previous video. This is an open source vulnerability scanner which will help us in our pen tests. So let's go ahead and get started. What we'll need to go into is our Kali. Again, if you haven't seen our last video, we showed how to install Kali Purple. Go ahead and log in. And once logged in, we're going to go ahead and open up Terminal. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for everybody. And we're going to do a sudo apt update. So we make sure we update everything that we currently have for this install. Some of these I'll be fast forwarding it because sometimes it does take a little bit for me to update and upgrade. The next step we'll be doing is a upgrade. So sudo apt upgrade -y. This took me a little bit, so it's different for everybody. Again, I'll be fast forwarding this part, just let it run through and finish. You'll get this prompt for the update. I just went ahead and kind of went to the default at the very bottom and just push OK there. Just go ahead and let it finish up. Fast forward this. This probably took about 10 minutes for me, so it might be different for you too. Alright, so next I'm going to go ahead and clear this real quick and we can start installing Greenbone. So we do quick sudo apt install GVM with a -y. This is going to go ahead and start downloading all the information that we need to install. Again, fast forward this part. This took me about 5 to 10 minutes also. Again, it could be longer for you or shorter. So once it's done, let it finish. Once you see this, we'll go ahead and let's clear this real quick. We're going to do a sudo GVM -setup. This will install all the databases, create the permissions, and install all the services that we need for Greenbone to work. Go ahead and let this go through. This can take a while because it is going to download all the feeds for the patching vulnerabilities and stuff like that, since it's the first install. So I'm gonna fast forward. This could take up to 45 minutes to an hour. It took me about an hour before I fast forward, before I cut the scene over here for you guys. So once it's done, it's an important thing that you know is that the admin user is admin, and we're gonna have to save this password. This is what we need for the first login of Greenbone. So the best way is I put it on a text editor. Just copy and paste to your text editor so we can use it for later. Alright, so once it's pasted, now we could run a GVM check setup. This is a command that we use to start up the services. So it's important to know that when you reboot the server, you're going to have to run that every time. So sudo GVM check setup. This is where it starts all the services, get the server ready for you. And of course, you could create a task for it to start up when you reboot the server. So let it do its thing. and now it's ready. So what we're going to be doing is open up a web browser. I currently have Firefox, and what we want to do is use HTTPS, and a loopback address is the 127.0.0.1 with port number 9392. Just go ahead and click on the advanced and accept the risk to continue since we don't have a cert. And username is admin. And remember the password that we created. We can go ahead and copy and paste that in there to our password section. This would be the first time logging in. Alright, since we're in, now what we want to do is create a new user. At least I'd like to do that. I don't want to remember that password or change anything with that admin password. So you go administrator, user, and click on the wizard button. Go ahead and just name it Apex admin. Oh, sorry, no. It's admin Apex. I get those flipped around sometimes. Put in your password. And make sure you put admin as a role. Go ahead and save. Now it's there. Go ahead and log out and log back into it. Log back in with your new username and password. Alright, so we're in with the new user. So first thing we want to do is check our feed status. We can't run a first scan until all the status is current. So let it run. This can take 45 minutes to an hour, maybe longer. Just hold tight. I'm gonna fast forward, but hold tight until it says everything is current before we do our first scan. So since we're waiting, let's go ahead and do one of the first things first, create a target. Target is a target we want, the server that we want to scan. So we want to scan the Metasploitable server. Let's double check what the IP is real quick. Log back into Metasploitable. Let's do ifconfigure quick. So yeah, 189.142.149. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Configuration, targets. And we're already in there. Sorry. Go ahead and click on the wizard. Just gonna name this meta. So we can do a manual scan since we know the IP and it's just one computer. We can actually scan a group of computers or one computer. So right now I'm doing just one Metasploitable server. If you want to do the whole section is /24. And you could also browse, and if you have a CSV file, you could upload it. So put it back to 149. And yes, the browser, you could upload all the files there. Go and click save. Now our target save, again, we can't do anything yet until the feed's done. I fast forward this part. Yeah, it took me about an hour and a half. So this, once it becomes current, we will create our first scan. So let's just let it sit a bit. We are almost done doing this part. And now it's current. Again, that took me about an hour and a half for that to be finished. You go to scans, task, and create your first task. Name your task. I'm gonna name it Metascan, and pick your target that you created earlier, and click on save. and it's right there, and we could kick it off by clicking on the start button. This will take a while as well, so I'll be fast forwarding. This took about 45 minutes to an hour on the first scan, so I'll be right back and show you once it's done. Now once it's done, we could see the report. Now this report is what we're going to be using on the next video. So we're going to be using nmap plus this report to see if we can penetrate Metasploitable server with what we have found. So these are great tools to use as a pen tester to check on what vulnerabilities are on that server. So we click on the reports, and you can see it's one host and the results and all the ports that it found. So let's go ahead and click on the results. Here you see all the vulnerabilities that are opened for Metasploitable, and you get a lot of information from here to see what we can exploit. And then for each one, we could click into them and see more information. So you can see the summary, a little insight on what this is, what this vulnerability is. The impact also shows a solution as well. So this is a great tool for both sides, how to patch everything, what's missing. And again, this is an open source community feed. So community feed compared to the paid version, there's Greenbone and there's OpenVAS. OpenVAS is the paid version, and Greenbone is the community feed. So it doesn't get the most updated feeds compared to the commercial, but it's great for small businesses or even for just training and lab work. As you can see, we're going to be using this throughout our labs, so it's a great tool to have in your arsenal for sure. One thing I wanted to add before I end the video is since the feed, this is a community feed, it doesn't automatically update, but you can manually update yourself. So let's go ahead and show you the commands. These commands are what we're going to be using to update each one. So if you guys want, I'm going to be putting this in the description as well, so you don't need to write it down. But this command will update the feed for the first one, which is the NVT sync, NVT. And the next one, after this, we're going to run through it as well. These do take a long time to run through. So that is for the first feed, the NVT, that will sync that up. Next one, we're going to be doing the SCAP. We'll run through those. We have to run through them one by one, starting from the top to the bottom. And the next one would be the Cert. And next would be the GVMD _data. I'm going to update these right now, but they do take a lot of time, so I will be fast forwarding a lot and cutting it to the updates so you can see what it looks like when it's updated. This whole process took me about 2 to 3 hours, I believe, to get it done because I did walk away. So the download will start going through. So it is set on current, and it will go on to next step. So what would happen sometimes if it's still on current, even though it shows it's done here, you'll get an error saying that the file is locked, the update file is locked. So I'll show you that real quick. So we do the next command. Now once you do the next command, it'll start doing a download. Sometimes what would happen is when you're doing download, it can lock up the feed. Even though it says update is in progress or current, it'll switch back and forth. So give it time for it to say current for a little bit. So I fast forward this part up to the next one so I could kind of show you. It was taking a long time and kept on saying the feed update was locked. So give it 5 seconds, but actually wasn't. You just had to wait. Again, it took me about an hour for the next step so I could do the command. So give it time, let it finish. So now I'm able to do the next one, which is the cert. As you can see in the background, it switched, but it also went back to update in progress. So give it some time, let it sit there. And I went ahead and update the last one, and there you go. As you can see, it's saying it is locked. But then it switched over, and everything will be updated shortly. And it's doing its update in progress again, and current there. And that's how you update your feed for Greenbone. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed this. We're going to be using this and Nmap and the other tools for the next video to do some exploitation of the Metasploitable. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Help us with some likes and follows and subscription. Thank you.